liwanag. Yan. Tapos, bababa dito. Sus. Balik. Balik kayo.
How far down the earth would you go for gold?
Yung mga daanan, minsan nabagsak na lang. Yun ang kinakatakutan po doon.
Would you dive into darkness, blind and airless for hours?
Thirteen po ako, marunong na ako mag-ilalim.
Gaano katagal?
May 1 oras po, minsan 2.
On this episode of Assignment Asia, visit the central Philippine town of Paracale, where gold rushes through this river and beneath these mountains. Its abundance creating an industry that has spanned generations.
I'm Barnaby Lowe, and this is Assignment Asia. Gold mining is a 400-year-old industry here in Paracale. Majority of the roughly 50,000 people living here rely on gold for their livelihood. They say it's almost like a tradition. Children see their parents working in the mines and often end up doing the same work.
It was a Sunday when we found a group of men running a small-scale gold mining operation in one of Paracale's mountain communities. But maybe because it was a Sunday, there were also school-aged boys, some barely in their teens. Although the boys seemed accustomed to the environment, it looked like most of them were just playing, observing, or at best, helping out with menial tasks. But when a relatively small, boyish frame emerged from under the earth and mud, the truth couldn't be clearer. There are miners working in Paracale's gold mines. And some, like 15-year-old Daniel Estacion, do exactly what grown men in the mines do. In this case, a method of obtaining gold that's considered one of the most perilous jobs in the world.
So what they're doing here is considered one of the most dangerous, if not the most dangerous method of gold extraction. And it's unique to this area of the Philippines. It's called compressor mining. They stay underwater for hours, breathing only through this tube.
It's a lot to take for a young boy, but at times, Daniel doesn't seem to be fully aware of the dangers.
Matagal ka doon sa ilalim, di ba? Gaano katagal?
May 1 oras po, minsan 2.
2 oras? Paano ka humihinga?
May hus naman po.
Yun lang. Kaya?
Kaya po.
Hindi ka natatakot? Bakit?
Wala naman pong maano din natakot sa ilalim.
Hindi mo, sa tingin mo, hindi naman delikado.
Hindi po.
But for Daniel's mother, Alona, there's no question. Digging for gold with zero visibility, more than 20 meters underwater, while breathing only through a tube attached to an air compressor, is risky business.
Kayo, Nay, meron bang kaba?
Ay palaging meron. At siyempre pag mga nasa ilalim, hindi mo alam kung ano ang kalalabasan ng nasa ilalim. Na minsan pag namamatay ang makina ay matatakot ka at siyempre buhay yung nasa ilalim.
And yet, she hasn't been able to stop Daniel and his brothers from mining.
Hindi nyo pinigilan yung mga anak ninyo na?
Ay pinigilan naman, kaso lang talagang sila naman ang gusto. Minsan nagmamalay kami, pag mapuntang Kaburan, masabi lang sa amin, Mama, mangungulipaw kami. Papayagan naman namin at gustong magkapira. Ay pagdating, maanuhan namin, nasa ilalim daw, naglidip. Ay hindi na rin naman napigilan hanggang ngayon. Di natuto na magparalidip yung mga kapatid nito.
With 9 mouths to feed, the money her children bring home from mining helps make ends meet.
Ay wala naman ibang pagkakakitaan. Kaya yun lang ang kaya namin anuhin. Lahat nga kami nagtatrabaho para kumita lamang at para may maisuporta. At sa dami mga po ng nag-aaral na yan, bali 5 silang nag-aaral. Ay para may pandagdag lamang maiano lamang sila.
The money Daniel makes from mining also helps put him through school.
Bakit kailangan mo magtrabaho?
Para may pang ano sa project.
Magkano yung kinita mo ngayon?
Minsan po 400, 500, 300.
Gaano katagal mo pagkakasahin yung 400, 500?
Sa isang linggo po ay maipon ako ng 300 para may pambayad sa project.
Kasama na doon yung pagkain?
Siya po.
Daniel dreams of becoming a teacher someday and a life far away from Paracales gold mines. If he succeeds, he'd be the first from his family to be able to do so. But Paracale isn't called Gold Town for nothing. Though much of the town remains poor, its gold deposits possess a certain luster that has lured many into staying or returning. Daniel's uncle, 54-year-old Emmanuel Dasco, or Eman, was Daniel's age when he started mining. Back then, he simply dug for gold on riverbanks, and there wasn't much money to make. Later, he realized he needed to go deeper to find more gold. He had to learn compressor mining.
Sa lahat po yung compressor pinakamahirap.
Pakilarawan ho sa amin kung paano ho yung hirap ng pagko-compressor mining.
Ganito po yun, no. Yung una, pag-aaralan mo mabuti yung pagtangay ng hose. Yung sa pagtangay po ng hose, kapag yung wala kang sa sariling pamamaraan, hindi mo makukuha yung kinokontrol din yung hangin. Kontrolado din. Kung hindi mo naman pwedeng hindi kontrolin yung hangin na papasok sa buong katawan mo yun, makakuha nyo, malubo ang katawan nyo pag hindi po ibubuga.
Pwede kang mamatay sa ganyan.
Pwede po. Halimbawa, nasa ibabaw, may isang nasa ibabaw, halimbawa, 3 silang nasa ibabaw, isa ka nasa ilalim. Hindi mo alam kung anong nangyayari sa ilalim nung nasa ibabaw. Yung hose lang, pag sininyasan nila yung hose, nararamdaman nila yun na may aberya yun. Halimbawa, medyo danger na ang lupa. Tapos yung halimbawa, nagdadrive.
Guguho yung lupa sa inyo.
Yung lupa. Kaya yung trabaho po, talagang napakahirap sa lahat.
Eman knows the dangers all too well. He was once trapped underwater when the earth above him collapsed. And yet he continues to engage in compressor mining. His children and nephews appear to be following in his footsteps. Family-run operations aren't uncommon in Paracale. And so is child labor. Small-scale mining, even those financed by businessmen, is the norm here. It was a Monday when we followed them to their mine site. Emma needed extra hands, so his children and nephews skipped school. Choosing between making some money and going to school is a no-brainer for them.
Sa tingin mo, kailangan mo talaga magtrabaho? Kailangan talaga?
Opo. Wala po kami pambaon. Hindi po kami makakapasok. Minsan po naglalakad na lang po kami para makapasok. Para po makatipid.
Ikaw, at walang ibang trabaho po na pwedeng pasukan dito?
Yun lang po, pagkakabod lang po.
Ime, ikaw, yung pamilya mo, yung tatay mo, nakakagis na mo nang nagkakabod siya.
Opo.
Simula bata ka pa. Sumusunod ka sa epak niya, kaya ikaw ba ay nagkakabod din ngayon? Bakit ka sumabak din dyan sa trabaho niya?
May piray, kaya nagpipilit din po at para maraming pang sa magulang makatulong din.
Talaga? Ano ka hirap pag sinabi mong mahirap ang buhay mo?
Minsan po ay di nakakain, kung minsan naman nakakain.
At first, the boys were only helping out in putting together equipment for the job ahead. It was hard labor, but was relatively safe. Later, they took turns diving for gold with the adults. It's hard to tell how long they've been doing it. They were underwater for much shorter periods, but it didn't look like it was their first time.
Natisting lang po.
Ha?
Natisting lang po.
Testing lang? So, ibig sabihin gusto mo?
Natisting po.
Pero hindi ka natatakot?
Hindi naman po nabagsak. Pag may palapot lang po ay hindi po nabagsak.
Ikaw ba pareho sa kanya nagte-testing ka pa lang din? Mas advanced ka na ba sa kanya? Mas advanced ka na. Ano na ang kaya mong gawin?
Yung ano po, ano lang din ng makapalaman din ng mga tatlong pala.
Saan mo natutunan yan? Sino nagturo sa'yo?
Sa mga ano, kay Papa rin po, na sabi, testingan daw. Hindi nag-testing din po.
But Ime's father, Eman, denies being the one who started his son on compressor mining.
Ang problema, kung pagkuhan nga po na yung ganyan nga, tatakasan ka. Tapos mababalita mo, oh, ganun, yung mga anak mo, marunong nang maganon, ganun. Doon po nalalaman. Pero yung sasabihin na katulad nga na kami ang tumuturo sa kanila, hindi po. Mismo sa kanila po nanggagaling.
Eh, paano po yun? Pipigilan niyo po ba sila?
Hanggang kaya po namin mapigilan sila ng mga ganyan. Pigilan namin para at least hindi sila yung halimbawa, imbis yung pag-aaral nila, na matutunan nila, parang namaalis na sa isip nila, kaya nagiging mahina ang kuha ng mga bata. Dahil na-memorize ng mga bata na may gido nakakapira.
But even if he doesn't want his son to get into mining, Eman says people in Paracale don't really have a choice, with no other viable means to make a living.
Wala ibang silang matakbuhan na. Halimbawa po, katulad ng mga kalakal katulad sa Maynila, marami silang mapagkuhanan. Eh dito, wala po. Puro ganyan kabul. Diyan madali silang makapira.
Others, like 15-year-old Aris and 17-year-old Tisoy, have stopped going to school altogether. They spend 8 hours a day in the deep, dark, and narrow tunnels of Paracale. Their story next on Assignment Asia.
It's a dangerous, often life-threatening job anywhere in the world, but more so here in Paracale, where there are no safety standards, no government regulation, and where conditions are some of the harshest in the world.
The earth was turning red as we traveled from Paracale's riverside communities to the more distant mountains. Locals say it was perhaps due to all the gold deposits underneath. As we made our way to the top of the mountain, we saw clusters of makeshift structures. We went inside one of them and discovered each structure goes deep, up to 100 meters inside the mountain. To get a sense of just how difficult and dangerous it is for miners here, I dropped into one of the pits.
It's actually kind of hot in here. It's dark, it's hot. I see the end of it.
But it was way deeper than I thought. From where I started to the bottom of the pit was 20 meters, and that's just the first leg. From there, miners squeezed their way and crawled toward another pit. Down to another crawl, and then down again. 80 meters down, Our camera caught a boy, tall but narrow frame, searching for gold. When he emerged, we learned that he's surfacing for the first time in 12 hours. His name is Aris Villanueva, and he's 15.
Isa magtambay, trabaho na lang.
Ayaw mo na mag-aral?
Makatulong mo sa mga magulang.
Oo. Ayaw mo na mag-aral?
Ayaw po.
It wasn't hard to guess why Aris would choose to risk his life mining rather than finish his studies. 4 of his older brothers are also gold miners, all making money. One of them is 17-year-old Al Villanueva. He's known here as Tisoy, a Filipino slang for white boy.
Magkano kinikita mo dito?
Yung pinakamalaki po ay 8,000 yung...
Naka 8,000 ka?
Siya po, ano po yun, buwanan, minsan po araw-araw kami nagpo for the boys. For the boys po yan, minsan 300.
Para sa'yo, malaki na yun.
Binata naman po, wala po pong asawa. Kaya, malaki na po yun.
8,000 Philippine pesos, or about $170 is less than the monthly minimum wage in the Philippines. But it's more than any amount of money they've had in their hands. Mining in Paracale's crisscrossing tunnels isn't exactly a walk in the park. If it were, Aris's feet wouldn't be full of blisters.
Ngayon lang nangyari sa'yo yan? Ibang injury? Nagkaroon ka na ng ibang injury?
Alam.
Pero masakit din yung sugat, ha?
Ay, masakit po yan at gawa ng babad po sa tubig. Marami po yan na yung babakbak yung iba.
Where Aris and Tisoy works, and in most other mining sites in Paracale, there seems to be little regard for safety. None of the brothers' co-workers were wearing hard hats. Some risked exposing even more skin by wearing shorts.
Wala ka bang takot o pangamba tuwing bumababa ka doon?
Ay, meron po. Ay, sa tulong na lang ng Diyos ay wala naman po nangyayari masama.
Ano yung kinakatakot mo?
Ay na may gumuho. Pag yung mga daanan, minsan nabagsak na lang. Yun ang kinakatakutan po na.
That fear is not unfounded. Accidents have happened at Paracale's gold mines, but most of them go unreported. Paracale's gold deposits are so vast. Locals and migrants have dug earth from the mountains to the rivers and the sea. This is one of Paracale's larger mining operations. Also the site of one of the town's most tragic accidents in recent memory.
In 2012, a huge explosion rocked this mining site. Now, officially, the death toll is at 3, but witnesses tell us a lot more people died in the accident.
Rico Yuson, or Corix, was working above ground at the site during the blast.
Hindi nila napansin yung manipis na pala yung bato na pumaharang sa tubig sa kabuhangin. Naputukan pa nila ngayon. Kaya biglang pumasok yung tubig dagat sa ilalim ng balon. Kaya napuno sila. Napuno yung ng tubig yung balon. Namatay yung mga tao dun sa ilalim.
Madami yun?
Madami.
Ilan sa tansya mo?
Mahigit kumula 100 tao yata po.
Mahigit kumulang 100 tao. Pero ang report, 3 lang ng patay.
3 lang kasi kung sasabihin na na ganun karaming namatay na tao, baka ititigil ng yun, pagmimina ron.
Indeed, it has remained an active gold mining area. Everyone we asked knows what happened here, but the way business is operating is as if nothing happened.
Ano ba yung meron doon sa Bulaay at bumabalik pa rin yung mga tao doon para magtrabaho doon sa kabila ng nangyari doon?
Maraming ginto ang makukuha doon kumpara sa iba.
Yung quality.
Magandang magandang klaseng ginto pati ron.
So yung sa sandaling nagtrabaho po kayo doon, magkano po yung kinita nyo doon?
Halos nag-abot ng 45 sa loob ng isang buwan.
Wala ka po.
45,000.
Kumpara ko sa kinikita nyo normally at ngayon po, yung kinikita nyo ngayon, malayo po.
Malayo po.
Pero sa kabila nun, ayaw nyo na bumalik doon?
Ayaw ko na pong bumalik doon. Timbang buhay po doon pag pumasok doon sa Bulaay.
Parang talagang pwede ka nang mamatay.
Kahit anong oras.
Death by accident isn't the only way to die from mining. One can die a slow death without ever diving into tunnels or underwater. In fact, most children in the industry work on the surface, panning for gold and processing it. This is also what Emma's children usually do. It may look harmless, but the use of mercury here poses a danger to women and children working in small-scale mines.
Mercury is one of the unique chemicals where gold attaches itself and allows you to separate it from earth and stone and other debris that goes with mining. And then once gold attaches to mercury, you can then burn the mercury and take your gold pure.
And that's when it's most dangerous to the body, especially a child's.
Children are developing their organs, they're growing, and all that growth and development can be disrupted or go wrong when mercury comes in. Especially on the nervous system, that's one of the most vulnerable in the growth of the child, and that's what mercury attacks.
That adults risk their lives searching for gold underground or underwater is one thing. Although most small-scale mining operations in the Philippines are illegal, the government does issue licenses for some. But children engaging in gold mining is another matter altogether, according to the Labor Department.
If what we see is a child going, we will rescue the child.
That's proved to be a challenging task, especially with limited resources. But the Labor Department claims close to 200 villages all over the country are now child labor-free. Their secret weapon, local officials.
As long as the local government unit is not so fully educated about the menace of child labor, about the menace of illegal mining. The only way that we can reverse the situation in a certain barangay is to really get that local chief executive educated that what he is doing is really, really illegal. So, much really depends on the barangay captain, because the barangay captain is the one who is with the village people 24 hours, 7 days a week.
So can we expect a child labor-free Camarines Norte soon?
Paracali, I hope we can declare some barangays already free so that we can make this as a model. In fact, we are delivering some fishing boats for the parents of some of the laborers there already to make sure that they don't send their children diving into the deep for the gold.
But while Eman and his children don't usually make much from gold mining, what is a bucket full of fish to an ounce of gold?
Gold mining in this part of the Philippines isn't just an industry. It is a way of life even for children and teenagers. So as long as people here don't see anything wrong with it and the government doesn't intervene, sadly, it is likely the practice will continue. You can learn more about this story on our website, www.assignment-asia.com. That's all the time we have for this week. I'm Barnaby Lo. Thanks for watching, and join us again on Assignment Asia. Share your thoughts and contribute story ideas for future shows by contacting us on social media.